Right then, hello everyone and welcome back to another stream from my channel Highbrook End Model Railway. I do hope you're all doing okay. So today, as you can see, we are back at the servicing bench. This should be, and I say should, be the last servicing video of this sort of series. Now, I've got a confession to make. I have serviced 2 more locomotives in the time while we've been away since last week, and I'll explain all that after the intro. But today we are servicing and repairing. And we should be live until about 6 o'clock today, so plenty of time for the usual mishaps, not necessarily on the track, but of course in the live chat and the usual discussions we've had. We are servicing today, so I do hope you enjoy. I will roll the intro and then we shall get straight into the servicing. Do enjoy the stream, everyone, and I'll see you in the next 12 seconds. So, I've already made an uptick because my laptop's about to run out of charge and I have zero clue where the charger is. Right, give me a moment. The laptop is going to run out of battery. And I'll respond to all your comments in a minute, but if my laptop runs out of battery there is no stream, so I need to get it plugged in. One moment please. It's a very good job this isn't a mishap stream. Could you tell I didn't have my script open for the intro? That's something else. Start was a little bit shoddy. There goes the charger. Is that a phone with the stream on it? Yes, it is. I just like to make sure things are running well on my phone. Right, one moment, please. I haven't got a camera that won't show my face, so I'm just going to shut that flap for a second. The camera's frozen. Oh, great, this is going absolutely spiffingly. Are you going to work now? No. No, you're not going to work. Your microphone works. Alright, well, the flap's over it anyway. One moment, please, while I plug the charger in. Did I say script? I didn't mean script. I'll come back to that in a minute when I've got my laptop on charge. Charge. Are we charging? I hope we are. Right, we should be ready to go now. Is this camera going to come back on? A lot of things aren't going well already. Let's see. Come on. Don't tell me my camera's conked. Now. Not now. Not now! Right. Deactivate the camera. Activate the camera. Why? Why? This is the microphone works. I think it does. Let me check on the audio. One moment, please. Well, the microphone works, but the video doesn't. This is frozen. This is what I'm doing now, but that camera just... Oh, for the love of Christ. Why is it frozen? I can't... Are we working now? Let's try. Activate. No. Let's have a biscuit, that might help. No, what? I don't know why it's not working. Oh great, this has gone from servicing to bloody fixing a camera. My phone's turned off now as well. Glorious. Why ain't it working? Right, I'll tell you what. What does the status indicator on it say? Yeah. Oh, you might see my face then. A bit. Whatever. Right, let's remove 2K webcam. Then we'll do add video capture device 2K webcam. Okay. Add existing 2K webcam. Okay. No, it's completely and utterly stuck. Right. And now it's messing up everything. Yeah, we've properly messed this one up. Now I've got to try and... What's going on here? Let's undo everything. Right, well... Right. The microphone keeps dying because this is the webcam I'm using for my microphone. But I don't quite understand why all of a sudden now it's died. Activate. Right, I'm going to try swapping the... I might just have to continue without, but it's going to be pretty terrible. Let me swap all the USBs over. Give me a minute. Testing. Oh, right. It looks like we're back. Let's reset both of the cameras. I bet this one don't work now. Oh, joy of joys, it does. The other one... See, when I deactivate it, it doesn't even realise there's no feed. Properties. We haven't completely ruined the settings, have we? Configure video. Properties. No, everything seems to be fine. Oh, hang on. It's finally recognised it's turned off. Has it just crashed? So, that's deactivated now, and it's finally realised there's no video. So if I activate it, and we're back! Hello everyone, and welcome! Oh god. And it's all wonky. Let's remedy that. Hideous unprofessionalism. We've been going for 14 minutes now, and it hasn't worked. They want to start it anyway. Are we right? Are we set up? Yes, we are. So, let's welcome people in the chat. So, hello to Jaden on the main line. Thank you very much for joining. When you said you were going to grab a can of Iron Brew, yeah, I grabbed some biscuits and a pot of tea. So that's where I was. Northern Transport Hub, I do, yes, definitely. Northern Transport Hub, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for joining. Good to see you. You asked where Highbrook End Model Railway was. As I just said, I went to get biscuits, a cup of tea, and went to the toilet. And because I was doing that, I forgot to get my script up, like a bit of a pudding. and thus I had to bodge my way through the intro because, well, the intro to the stream, because my intro video failed. So what I'm going to do is pull that really quickly up now, so I don't forget at the end. So that's why the intro was less waffly than usual and a bit rushed, because I, getting tea and biscuits and going to the toilet. So, RIP headphone users, why is the audio too loud? Let me check once again. One moment, please. Right, sounds okay. I think it's just because I was, leaning into the mic. Don't worry, Jaden. Where that yellow screwdriver's supposed to be. It is where it's supposed to be. I can move the keyboard now, because we've done the intro, as I explained last week, so let's shift you. And, so apologies for that terrible start. Volume level spiked a bit. This should be okay now. Apologies about the terrible start about the script, because I was getting tea and biscuits. And, oh great, all this brightness settings are all mucked up now. But yeah, apologies about the rush start. I was getting biscuits, going to the toilet, I was, rushing around a bit because I was slightly late because I've done some ballasting, which I'll explain in a little bit. But, yeah, apologies for that. And, of course, the camera decided to die. But nevertheless, we can now start. Let's turn the brightness down so it's not completely swamping out. How does that look? That looks okay. Right, now we can start, so welcome everyone, in line with the red one. What do you mean? That's how it's supposed to be. It don't go that way, because the slot's down the middle and the yellow screwdriver goes there. That's where it goes. I don't know where you mean. The other way around? There's no room for it. The green screwdriver there is the last slot. But anyway, before I spill my tea everywhere, and before things went to pot, the confession I had to make was that I had serviced 2 more locomotives. This is where this camera conks out now. Oh no. I have serviced 2 more locomotives, so indeed, Golden Eagle is back up and running. Yeah, I suppose it is, Jaden, but there's only so many holes you can fit in it. I have done some ballasting. As you can see, the track is looking a white colour, a watery colour, because when I actually ballasted this track, obviously I used thick ballast and I wanted to use thick ballast and I'm aware of the consequences of using thicker ballast. It created gaps in the points where I couldn't quite get stones in, and of course, well not of course, but when you ballast, excuse me, when you ballast, not all the stones get stuck down, and particularly with me using particularly coarse stones on the mainline section, not all of them got stuck down, and as a result, that meant that, every time you ran a train over it or ran your hand over it, it, dislodged some stones. So I've used this opportunity to use the finer ballast that I use for the sidings, such as this one here, to fill in the gaps on the ballasted the mainline track, give it some more texture, and also give me a chance to re-glue over it again to get all the ballast stuck down. So over the next week or so, I will be going around all my mainline sections on the layout. All the sidings are fine, they don't need filling in. I'll be going around all the mainline sections on my layout and filling in the gaps, and of course re-gluing it all down, just so that the bigger clumps of ballast have a chance to get stuck down. And as a result, I'm not running my freshly serviced trains and getting all the wheels and pickups dirty on the ballasted track, so we are using this little siding here. However, I have linked the controller from the 4th radius line to this siding. And if I turn the power up, if I can reach it, I can't reach it, my computer's in the way. One moment. If I turn up the power, you should be able to see the Golden Eagle. She now works. Of course we can't get a massive run, but she does work. I chose to do Golden Eagle and the little 040, which I'll show you in a minute off camera, simply because both required, I knew would require quite a lot of work and quite a lot of fiddling. So Golden Eagle's tender chassis, as I've mentioned before, was completely deformed, and that took half an hour of bending and shaping it back into place to get the back wheels on the tender drive to actually touch the track and drive the loco forward. So that took a lot of time, and she's derailed. So that took a lot of time, and I've chose to do Golden Eagle. So Golden Eagle now works perfectly fine. She works fine over points when a front bogie doesn't derail by whacking into the keyboard, which is at the end of the track. So she does work. I've had her running around the layout before I ballasted the track yesterday night and this morning, and she does work absolutely fine. Apart from she keeps derailing. But she works, so in all future streams you can now request Golden Eagle. She didn't need a replacement tender chassis, it just needed very, very careful bending back into place. So Golden Eagle now works fine, and I'll probably might film a running session with her. So there we go, Golden Eagle works. And the other engine of the two I decided to service off camera was this one, because it needed a new magnet in it, which was very faffy, because the only replacement one I had was a neodymium one, and they're just very faffy, very strong, pinched my hands quite a few times and may have been swear words. So sorted her out. She required a lot of stuff. The wheels needed sort of pushing and shoving back into place because they were wobbling all over the place. And she's just not that really. She's not that much of an interesting engine to service, but hopefully you can see she does now work fine, and quite a nice slow speed as well to say she's got a neodymium in. Neodymiums can cause quite bad cogging because they're just how they pull the armature, but the LMS number 5 does work again. A bit of a squeak, I've just realised. Oh no. That's gone now. So there we go, LMS number 5 and Golden Eagle have been done off camera. And so now we shall actually get onto the servicing today, and I want to get all the engines finished today. So what I shall do is realign the camera because I had to move my computer. Hideous unprofessionalism. There we go. So we're sorted. So Jaden says that's an annoying design about that screwdriver. Yeah, it is, unfortunately. I wish they could fit some more screwdrivers in that gap there, but of course they can't. Jaden says it's the golden egg. Good one. I thought you were on about my tub of glue that were over on the layout on this camera. But yeah, so Golden Eagle works and the Red 040 works, and hopefully by the end of today all engines should be fully serviced, up and running and operational, and in next week's running stream you should be able to request any engine you like. So 20 minutes into the stream we can actually start doing what the stream was intended for. That's my apologies for ballasting before the stream and being a bit late setting up, and then obviously having to get tea and biscuits from downstairs and then the camera failing, so bisque off. Apologies about that, but good job it isn't a mishap stream. Jaden says he's put a poll up on his community page. Yep, I will go and answer that, Jaden. No problem at all. I'm really happy about getting my community post, by the way, Jaden, if you couldn't tell, if you've read mine. So, the engines left to do are the 03.10, the D11, 2 040s and the HST. The 040s may take 5 minutes each. So, really not that long. Tea and bisque off as well, Jaden. So we shall get cracked on. I shall try and talk and do, which normally doesn't end well. But whip the screw out the top of the 03.10 and keep that safe. Switch to this camera, of which I think needs brightening up a bit. Apologies for all this, but yeah, I normally set all the brightnesses before the stream, but of course, camera trouble, because it just crashed. Can we get this a little bit brighter, please? Yeah, I think that'll do. This is quite a dark engine anyway. Quick test while it's off. Ah, the body's come off, of course. Yeah, that don't look too bright. So, the body's fine. I already wedged some pieces of sponge last time I serviced it, so that doesn't need sorting. That can go straight on there, and I'll make sure that controller's off, yes, which it is, so I don't short it. I do not know if I should desolder this wire or leave it connected, because that's quite close to the plastic. So I think I'm going to leave the tender connected. I'll I'll just check the bulb still works by putting power on here. Oh no, because it comes from the tender. Alright, I'll put it to the motor then. Yeah, you won't. You might not be able to see this because the bulb's a filament bulb. Come on. But yeah, you can just see that bulb lighting up there. So yeah, Jaden, when you said script, I don't script my streams. I just have my phone on here just to check how the quality and the progress and, you know, the comments. And the script is just my intro and outro speech. So thank you very much for watching. See you same time next week. That sort of stuff. I just script the intro and outro. So Jaden says he's read my community post. Thank you, Jaden. And I agree. It's a wonderful feature to have. And I'm really happy YouTube has rolled it out to smaller YouTubers, actually. Because, obviously, not everybody, like on my Highbrook End Model Railway behind the scenes website, not everybody wants to be going onto external websites to look at my content. And that's why, when I get the chance to it, I will be taking the Highbrook End Model Railway behind the scenes website down, because now I can just make all the announcements I would have done on there, on YouTube. And I love it because, you know, obviously, now my videos aren't on a schedule. Remember that one's for the body. Now my videos aren't on a schedule, it's useful to keep people updated and post, like, sneak peeks of next videos and stuff. Because, you know, part of being on YouTube is keeping in contact with your fans and, you know, keeping them interested, so to speak. So I think it's really good that YouTube's rolling it out to everyone, and you only have to have been on YouTube 2 months, not even making content for 2 months, I don't think, just following the rules, and you get access to it, which I really, really like. I think it's an excellent feature, and it's one of YouTube's better moves, unlike Rewind 2017, but we don't talk about that. So, yeah, I just think it's a really, really good feature that they've implemented. Oh, there's a bloody circlip on here to get that off. But it's a really good feature they've implemented, and I'm looking forward to keeping you all a lot more updated than I normally would do. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to using it, and of course, not gonna lie, Jaden, bit annoyed, not with you, but with the fact that YouTube had given you your community posts and not given me mine, so to speak, because, well, it just didn't make sense. If, like, smaller channels like me and you were, you know, smaller channels like you were getting it. Well, how do I phrase this? I don't mean smaller channels. But if YouTube was rolling out the community posts to smaller channels in general, I didn't understand why I didn't have mine yet. But of course, the day or 2 days after, mine got it, and I think Kurt got it as well. So, yeah. I've got it now. So I'm happy, looking forward to using it. Jaden's got yours, Kurt's got his on one of his other channels. And yeah. Right. Can't lose the springs on this one, because they're sort of held in place. So we'll take care of the brushes and the commutator first. So we'll put that out of the way. And you might have remembered a few weeks ago I mentioned this, but one of the brushes for this engine is camera's not good enough to see it, but that's a normal carbon brush. And then you have this one, which is like a rolled brass or copper mesh. You can probably just see it's a little bit of a lighter colour compared to that one there, and that's just like a rolled mesh, which is a bit odd. I don't know why they've gone for 2 different materials. Maybe so like one material doesn't like affect the other. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's to prevent sort of some electrolysis carbon effect, because, you know, not really sure. But what I can say is that despite this engine not having been served for ages, despite this loco not have been serviced for ages, this commutator is perfectly clean. So I don't know, maybe that sort of copper mesh roll helps to keep the commutator clean, because that is pretty much perfect. I'm going to clean it anyway, but that's brilliant. So yeah, He's got another channel, I think it's called Tech and Stuff, Jaden. He posted a video on there the other day. It's called Tech and Stuff, I think. It'll be on my channel subscriptions list anyway. But, yeah, I haven't heard anything from him from ages, actually. I think he's done a couple of servicing videos, which I haven't had a chance to watch, but nothing like he used to do. And he hasn't been on, like, in my stream for a while. Like, he popped in for about 2 minutes the other week, but other than that, I haven't heard much from him. He's been posting videos, but I haven't had a chance to watch them, and, you know, not as often as he used to do, so, yeah. Of course, Jaden, I don't mind if you put some of your other hobbies on. Of course, my channel isn't just a Model Railways channel now. It's posting whatever I want, when I want, really. A mixed variety, because that's just what I enjoy doing. So, of course, I'm not going to mind watching some of your interests. I think it's nice, not necessarily to prove, but to show other people our other hobbies who like our channel, because, you know, we're like-minded, I guess. We all like Model Railways. We like cars. Tea, of course we like tea. And so yeah, I don't mind at all. Of course, if my well, you might remember, vaguely remember, that a year or so ago I was doing a limited budget food challenge, so it was £2 for 6 meals for 2 days. If my channel hadn't have been a solely Model Railway channel then, I'd have had the time to film it. I may have actually turned that into a video, but I didn't, so. And that was when I wasn't using DaVinci Resolve for editing, so that is, I don't think it's got any cleaner. It was that clean, so I definitely think that brush setup helps, but I imagine the carbon may wear faster than the actual just metal stuff. That's mirror clean now, lovely and shiny. The brushes, let's have a look. Do they just need a bit of a... They're not even that dirty. I don't think I'm going to bother tea-cutting them. I think I'll just brush them off with the towel. So they're not dirty at all. They're not leaving hardly any residue on my fingers. We'll just give the copper mesh. I don't know if it's copper mesh, but it's definitely mesh of some sort. We'll just give that one a bit of a rub at the end. Tea-cuts will be coming back later. We need to clean the 9S wheels this week as well, I've just remembered. We'll keep the towel down to stop stuff pinging all over the place. Now to look at the loco itself. So what I need is a cotton bud, because there's quite a lot of crap behind that plate there, and I am running dangerously low on cotton buds. I haven't got any more since last week. Well, I haven't got any more. I haven't bought any more since last week. So we're running low. We're going to have to be conservative, so we're going to have to scoop all that out. Yeah, look at that. That's filthy. Move quickly, but also don't rush and do things properly. So I don't want to have to come back after this series is finished and service it again, because that would just betray me as a bit of a fool, which of course we all know I'm not, but, well, maybe I am. But, yeah, so that's that brush plate cleaned. Not really all that much to do on here. I guess we can mop up a little bit of the oil, but it seems to have, for once, mostly stayed in place. The gear train, if I spin the wheels, yeah, that feels lovely and free, and has a little bit of momentum after I keep spinning, so that's good. So I really don't think there's that much to do on this. You can't remove the bottom plate because you can, yeah, can you? Let's have a look. No, looks like the bottom, this plate comes off, but when you look down the side, I think it's moulded into the chassis. It is moulded into the chassis, so it looks like a base keeper, but you can't get these off. And I can see from here that there's no hairs or muck on the axles, so they're relatively clean. We don't need to worry about that. And one thing on here, the gears are really, really nice and thick and substantial. They're not, you know, tiny little flimsy ones like are on the Ringfield motors. If you look at that, they are really, really nice and thick. There's no chance they can wobble about, and that is a really solid metal gear train, so I do very much like that. It does look solid. Traction tyres. That one's a tiny bit loose, but it's not spinning. And that one seems fine as well. We'll just give them a rub over. So I'm going to put the motor back together now, not forgetting to put a tiny spot of oil behind there. And on the front as well. I'm asking for a new oiling pen for Christmas because I'm sick of this one, it's terrible. I'll put some oil on that gear as well, but I'll do that with the 3-in-1 rather than this stuff because it don't come out anywhere near quick enough. Jaden says he's going to see a MotoGP race weekend and a Formula 1 race weekend next year, so I'll get some stuff for that. Interesting, Jaden. As you know, I went to Silverstone a few weeks ago and I enjoyed that, so I look forward to your video. And yeah, I get what you're saying about music, Jaden. Yeah, I understand what you mean by that. Speaking of music, I've got a video in the works that script still needs writing. To do with music as well. I've got an analysis of Dire Straits' Walk of Life, and I've also got why key changes are the best musical feature, so stay tuned for those. Scripts haven't been written, but doing mock exams at the moment, so I haven't had a chance to make any videos. So, well, not apologies for the lack of videos, because I said I weren't on a schedule, but I know for the past few weeks I've been uploading videos on a Saturday, but of course my videos are still staying without a schedule, so I'm not apologising, but I also am. So we've got some oil on that. That spins nicely. We'll put this plate back on. We've got to get the circlip back on as well. It's a tiny little thing. Is it a circlip? Snap ring, E-clip, one of those things. Come on, you. Yeah, you're on. This magnet seems to be quite... The magnet needs to go in, actually. First. That could help. Yeah, magnet in. That drops in, and then, of course, that assists it like that. Screws can go in. Big screwdriver. Not my biggest screwdriver though, I've got an absolutely massive one in my toolbox that's just down there. Biggest precision screwdriver I have anyway. Biggest screwdriver on the bench is that one. Does that still spin? Yes, it does. That's good news. I do not know why they need this little E-clip on that shaft. Maybe it's to stop it bouncing up and down, but yeah, it pokes through the front and it's not as if it's all going to drop to pieces if it isn't on. I don't quite understand why it needs to be on, but it was on when I got the thing. We need tweezers for this. It was on when I got the thing, so it's going to stay on. And I put it back on last time I serviced it, so probably with a lot of difficulty, because I can see the marks where a screwdriver's been at it, but there's no other way to get it on. He says putting it on damn perfectly first time. Nearly. Come on, you just need to snap. Wow. That was a lot easier than I remember to put it back on, so spin that. Yeah, that works fine. We'll get this tiny screwdriver and just make sure it's seated, which it is. I'm going to put a tiny spot of oil. I know we've already put oil on the end of that armature, but I'm going to put a tiny spot of oil where the circlip is as well, because then it wasn't always spinning with the shaft. So, tiny little bit of extra oil won't hurt. Brushes can go back in now. As far as I can tell, the carbon one goes on the right. The graphite one goes on the right. Because I can see marks inside from where the black has sort of come on. So we need to very carefully lift that spring out. Drop the brush in, and then the brush has got a slot on top of it where the spring hooks into, and you won't be able to see that because I barely can, but there's like a slot, as in like on a flat screwdriver. Like how that has a slot in it, it'd like be a tiny bit of metal that just rests on it. So I need to make sure that's seated. We'll put that brush in as well. Crikey, we're nearly 45 minutes in already. Juffing camera broke, didn't it? But we're not far off. Ow, I've just stabbed myself with the spring. And this is coming apart, that's not good. I just need to get it started in the hole and then it'll go in. Come on, go in. I need something a bit rounder, there we go. Ah, because the springs got in before it, the daft thing. I'm aware you can't see any of this, but as I've said, neither can I, really. Come on, let's bend you out of the way. Don't stab yourself with the end of the spring because it'll hurt. Right, get the Phillips screwdriver and just gently push that into place. Which it is into place. Get a battery. Does it work? Of course it does. Let's have half a biscoff. Nope. There we go. Delicious. Right. There's nothing else I can do inside here. So I'm just going to put that wire through that slot where it's supposed to go. And we can pop the body back on. Thankfully this doesn't have any clips, it just sort of pushes into place. Sponge makes it a bit difficult to get it on perfectly, but it's worth it because it is literally, might as well be a speaker because it's a metal body. But once we get it in, that should be fine. Let's just share. Oh, we can't actually because it's like it picks up from one rail, picks up from the other. So we're done there. I'll get the sponge. Then we'll whip open the tender. Jaden says the day 2 video for the trip might not be out for a couple of weeks, just so you know. That's fine, Jaden. I understand how long it takes to edit. Yeah, I completely understand, and especially when you've probably got hours of footage, and you know you've got to remember which day was which, and so on and so forth. I understand how difficult it is. So don't worry, I am still looking forward to it. I have watched your other video. I can't remember if I commented on it though. But I did very much enjoy it. Can't remember if I've commented on it or not. Is this tender body going to come off? Do I have to bend? There we go. Nothing of interest in there we can clean out. We just need to be able to get to the wheels and the pickups. So I used WD-40 for this because I don't want the teacup to gunk it up. They're running dangerously low on cotton buds. We've got the big can of WD-40 that's my dad's, look, because mine ran out. So it looks like this picks up from the left rail, which will be negative on the tender, and the right rail, which will be positive on the loco. In forwards direction, anyway. So these pickups are a little bit difficult to get to because you can't take them on the sort of bonded to the metal chassis, you can see. So all I can really do is clean round them, try and get any hair off, and then clean the insides of the wheels. We'll dry that off now. That's one wheel done. That looks a lot better. I'm aware you can't see this. Will the other camera pick it up any better? Probably not, no. Then just a quick clean at the back, and we'll get the multimeter on it at the end and just make sure they're all making connection. They are a bit tiny little bit flimsy, so we'll have to see. They're not particularly dirty actually, which does suggest they've been making okay contact. They're sort of in two halves as well, as you could see earlier. Dry that one off. I am asking for quite a lot of modelling supplies for Christmas. I've asked for 2 more webcams, an amplifier for my piano, some molly grease, another oiling pen because that one's terrible, and some contact cleaner, some more brass wire wheels for me rotary tools. So there is quite a lot. There's nothing wrong with using WD-40. It's just I prefer to use contact cleaner, which is made for cleaning contacts. You know, normal WD-40 is fine, but I might as well use the proper stuff. That looks okay to me, and I'm going to have to save that cotton bud because we've got very, very few left. So, in comes the meter with the continuity test. Beeps. So, from that wheel to that metal plate, do we have... You'll probably have to see this, actually. From this wheel to this metal plate, do we have connection? Yes, and there's a bit of WD-40 that's got a little bit far. There we go. Do we have connection from that plate to that wheel? Yes. Rotate it a bit. Do we have connection? Yes. Connection, rotate. Yes. From there to there. No. I have to push that to make contact. So if we just bend that one in a little bit. Jaden says it has to be put in the correct chronological order. Yeah, that can be difficult for each day. And yes, I've got hours of footage for each day and have to nail down to the best 10-15 minutes of. Yeah, understandably. You know, I always film, when I'm train spotting, I always film like 10-15 minutes before the train comes. Just in case, you know, a freight engine or like a Voyager comes through or something interesting that I haven't looked on the timetable for. So yeah, quite a lot of the time, unless I'm, you know, repairing like the clock I did the other week, you always end up with way more footage than you need. There was no real need to take that tender body off actually, but this wire can become loose, so it is a good idea just to check on it. So you didn't really need to remove it, but it's better than it constantly falling over because the top of the tender isn't flat. So if we couple those together, we've got a little bit of extra flex for that wire, that's good. Slot you back on. That back in there. How long have we got left? We've got about an hour. It is Saturday, so tea won't be exactly at 6. To wait for my dad to come home from work, of which he'll probably be late because he always is. Slip of tea. Delicious. Right, cleaning wheels, and then we might do the 9Fs wheels. We will do the 9Fs wheels. The good thing about this engine is that obviously it's like a ring field. Like a ring field, like a Hornby ring field. So what I can do is, I think is just put this connection on the chassis and that one there, and it should work, which it doesn't because I need to open the points on that siding. Does it now work? Yeah, so I can just stuff it in that hole there, in one of them holes, and clip it, and it will make good enough connection. It says it not making connection. Shorting? No? Yes? Maybe? Not making connection. So there we go. Don't think that's making particularly good ones there. Let's try and get somewhere a bit better. There we go. Right, so WD-40 is here. Not contact buds. Cotton buds are behind me. comes out quite aggressively, that. Not going to put WD-40 on the wheels, because it will probably just knacker them up. Sorry, on the rubber, on the traction tyre wheels, because it will knacker them up. These seem to be staying fairly clean. Don't need to do the backs of the wheels, because it conducts through the axles, which I can't get to without pulling them off, and I'm certainly not doing that. Dry them off now. And just get any surface dirt off the traction tyres off. Don't push too hard or I might dislodge them. There we go. And now what I will do, probably use that cotton bud again. I'm going to slow it right down so oil doesn't go everywhere. I would put grease on, but obviously I'm not going to have grease until after Christmas. I'm just going to drop some oil on that gear there, being very, very careful not to get it on the rubber of the traction tyre. So just drop some on until I can see it moving down the gear train. Don't want loads on. Grease would be better, but of course I don't have any at the exact moment. And just let that work its way around for a little bit. And backwards. And obviously if I had that longer oiling pen, but of course it isn't after Christmas, I'd be able to get down to the axles to just put a pinprick of oil on the axles where they go through the chassis, and normally I would just put a bit of oil on a screwdriver and pass it down, but I can't do that. And I haven't done it before and it seems to be, you know, working fine, so I'll wait until I've got the oiling pen to do that. But that pretty much is serviced. We just need to do the non-driven wheels now. Cotton bud, please. And that's dripping WD-40 everywhere, like that. Indeed, Joe. It is indeed the German. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing okay. It is the German. It is the Marklin 03.10. Given to me by my uncle. Not given to me. Well, effectively said you can have it until you need it, and then you can, you know, just give it back. But it does get used quite often on my layout, and as we know, it's the most powerful engine I've got. It will haul every single piece of rolling stock I own, be it freight wagon, container wagon, or passenger coaches, or brake van. But yeah, it is indeed the German. My uncle didn't actually buy this. When he was young, it got, well, mistakenly, it got delivered to his dad's house, and obviously he lived with his dad when he was younger, and his mum. Got delivered to his house when he was younger, and of course it didn't have a return address on it, and they had absolutely no way of finding out whose it was. So this one day turned up at their house in a roll of cardboard, and yeah, he kept it. My uncle said his dad had, I think, did originally mean to set up a model railway for him, because my uncle's uncle worked as a signalman, and there's a photo somewhere on my phone of the signal box he used to work at with the class 45 at it, or a peak class anyway. So my uncle's dad meant to set up a model railway for him, and my uncle would have used this, but it never happened, and one day it just turned up at his house, and now I've got it, so yeah. Joe says it's Marklin. It is indeed. So what me is for Thomas the Tank Engine, so should in theory be a good runner. It is indeed. It is a little bit loud, partially because it's a metal body. However, putting some sponge in, as I demonstrated earlier, has sort of fixed that, and it's a brilliant puller. It's ridiculously heavy. It's got 2 traction tyres on the back, 2 drivers, and yeah, it is a good runner. Hardly ever cuts out, and yeah, solid, really solid. The gears are lovely and thick, as I mentioned earlier, and yeah, it's been brilliant so far. It was actually quite a good runner when I got it. It definitely worked, but it stuttered a bit. But it hadn't been used, I don't think, ever but it still worked when I first got it off my uncle, so... It's a solid thing. Right, that's the wheels clean. So now I think the only thing to do is to oil the linkages, and I can just about get to the ends of the bearings in the tender, but we shall do these first. And of course, because it's a ring-field drive, not a worm drive or anything like that, I can rotate the wheels into the optimal position. It does require quite a lot of force to turn those wheels by hand. Although the motor, of course, with all the gears, lowers the speed of the motor and increases the torque, so I hope it's not struggling. So, pinprick of oil, with this terrible oiling pen that only dispenses oil when you whack it against the table. But some oil on the linkages. Wow, it's actually putting oil out this week. It normally has trouble. Some oil on the slider. I'm sure it's got a name for that. Where it goes in and out of the cylinders. One there. A spot on the front bogie. Probably doesn't really need it, but it goes through metal, so it's a good idea. I'm gonna put a spot on that screw as well, because that's quite a large surface area it's touching. Spot on the wheels here as well. A spot at the drawbar, probably going slightly overboard with the oil, but it's an old thing, it needs preserving. Oil's not going to completely knacker it. And then a spot on the ends of the bearings. I can't get between the wheels and the frames. I'll just have to go outside the frames, but luckily the axles do poke through at the ends of the axles. Ich bin ein train enthusiast, good one. Not Ich bin ein Berliner. I'm sure you know about that one. I'm a jelly-filled donut. I can't remember who said that. Rick Kennedy? I've no clue. I've probably just made that up. There we go. So I think we're all lubricated up on this one, so I don't think there's anything else to do. No, it looks clean, it doesn't need cleaning. I don't think any of them, my locos, need cleaning. We haven't got any bits left over. No, those screws were there before we began. So, Jaden, you'll have to translate that one. I don't take German. Wish I didn't take Spanish either, but that's a different story. We'll slap this on the track, shut the points. As I say, I have ballasted the track, so I am having to use this siding where I have connected the 4th radius controller to this siding, otherwise the controller would be constantly disconnecting. Come on, so many wheels. Right, does it work? If it doesn't, I shall be annoyed. It doesn't. Yay. Oh, it does work, I just didn't turn the switch on. And it's derailed against the keyboard, because my keyboard's just up here. And it works. No, it doesn't, because it's derailed. Can't get your fingers underneath that bogey. Now we're railed. There we go. It works, it seems to cross that point just fine. Slow speed. Excellent. First one says me too, second one says I love trains very much. Well, fair enough. But yeah, the Germans have invaded indeed, Joe, on the British layout, the Yorkshire layout. Yeah, I'm happy with how that works. By the way, you're probably wondering what that is. It's a lit buffer stop, but of course, because it's an LED and it doesn't have a full bridge rectifier installed in it, it only works in one direction, which is forwards, which is pulling into the siding. Proceeds to leave the chat. That seems to work fine. I'll scooch my keyboard up a bit. Does it go over the point fine at slow speeds? The ultimate test for any locomotive. Well, it's stalled there because I didn't have the power on high enough. Let's try that again. German anthem intensifies. The German anthem's a good anthem as well. Emperor's... Is it Emperor's Hymn? I can't remember. I like that one anyway. Anyway, there's the 03.10, the German brute. I think that was a propaganda poster. I don't know, I don't take history. There is that serviced. How long have we got? We've got 45 minutes to do 1, 2, 3, 4 engines. I don't really want to run on into a 4th consecutive week, but I shall leave that up to the chat. So I'll put that to the chat depending on where we get up to. Do we go on for a 4th week of servicing, or do you just want me to crack on with it in my own time? Let's try and get the camera back in. Speaking of that, I was playing the German anthem. Oh, lovely. Are we about right with that camera? I mean, we don't really use this camera very much. Thankfully, this Loco has tender pickups, so it'll be easy to clean. I was going to ask if we cleaned the tender wheels, but we have, because there's absolutely no marks on them whatsoever. There's no traces of carbon. I think we will have cleaned them last week when we did the backs of the wheels and the tender pickups. Jaden says he can still hear the German anthem, but he's closed the tab. Jaden, are you a secret German? Get out. Crack on with it in your own time. Probably a good idea. It's coming from outside. Oh, crikey, Jaden, what have you done? You've doomed us all. Well, it shouldn't take long to clean the 9S wheels. And it doesn't work, because I haven't opened the points. And it still doesn't work. Oh, it does. Dodgy connection with the crocodile clip. The setup, by the way, on this siding is I've got the power feeding into the back, and then I can shut the points and have the siding run, or open the points and have power to the crocodile clips. The wheels don't turn that fast on the 9F. Oh, they do actually. It's just a very quiet engine. So we'll stick you about there. We've WD-40'd the cotton bud. Plenty of torque on this, so it doesn't need to be on ridiculously high. Not very dirty at all. Don't really need to clean the middle wheels because they don't touch the track. Backs of the wheels now. Try not to shred the cotton bud in them. Middle wheel doesn't have pickups on. Really not that much dirt coming off at all. Which is good, shows the good making good electrical connection. What a Stuka? What's Stuka, Jaden? Is that a German bomber? Or a tank? It must be. Or maybe it's some funny sort of instrument they invented, I don't know. Dry the WD-40 off now, although it's probably evaporated anyway. Have a quick... Let's turn the power off before I mince my hand. If we held them... Do you think we could get them to leave if we held the Frankfurters hostage? Oh, crap. No comment. Probably because I'll offend some German actually watching, so I'm not going to take part in this discussion. Although we are joking. No, the front pony is normally the dirtiest thing on a locomotive. This one's brand new looking. Right, I'm going to put a tiny spot. I'm going to have to save that cotton bud because we are running dangerously low. A tiny spot of oil on that front bogie. I think I lubricated the tender wheels last week. Yes, I did. So, spot on the... It's not a bogie! It's a pony truck because it's in front, and then the trailing one is called the trailing truck, because the pony goes in front of the cart. I had this discussion last week and I still can't get the flipping name of the thing right. It's a German World War II bomber fighter aircraft that, when it dives, makes a screaming whistle siren sound designed to scare people. Well, I thought it was something with an engine in. Sip of tea. A sip of tea a day keeps the Germans away. Oh, would you look at that? The coupling's come out of the 9F. The entire coupling this time. And the coupling hook as well. I've literally no clue where that goes because it's a defective design. Why didn't the numbers sound so scary? I can imagine. Right, we've got the 040s next, which should be an absolute doddle. I'm not even going to bother with the sponge, there's nothing you can break. Whip the body off. Anything I can do inside? No, not really. There's not much point taking the motor out, that's not going to achieve anything. There's no gunk inside. Yeah, I can't clean the pickups because you can't take the pickups out. I'll put a tiny spot of oil on the back motor bearing through the little bit of shrouding there is. I missed and hit the shrouding instead. Yeah, I'm not saying you are, Jaden, I'm just, you know. I didn't think you were, I'm just saying I don't take history, so. An excuse to shut up and service the train. I've taken my oiling pen off again. That needs to be a bit of oil there. The worm gear looks dry. Can we get a bit of oil through the axles here? Probably. No, we can't. The oiling pen's too short. So the only thing we can really do is clean the wheels and the backs of the wheels and put some oil on. So the body can go straight back on. I will use the sponge. No, I won't actually. Body can come off. We'll use the sponge. Open the points, which they are, and then connect power to the motor so we can clean the wheels. Does this work now? No. We are short in the controller. Oh, wrong side of the capacitor. And it's nearly taken my fingers off. Yeah, it's fine, Jaden. I don't think he will, but some idiots just like to be idiots. Hence why they're called idiots. There we go. So, you know the drill. WD-40. After Christmas, as I've said, I'll be doing this with contact cleaner. But I don't have any, so WD-40 is the next best thing and it does work fine. I wouldn't recommend lubricating with WD-40. I used to in the very early days and it never did much damage, but it sort of does just go everywhere. So I'd recommend using 3-in-1, and people don't recommend using 3-in-1, but I've been using it for 2 years, nearly, and it's not done any harm. These wheels are particularly dirty. Coming up nice though. Backs of the wheels must be done, because you can't get to the pickups to clean them. So backs of the wheels are absolutely essential. This cotton bud will have expired after this. There's no point turning the controller off, is there? I might as well just leave it on and check the leads off. There we go. Right, so, pinprick O oil. How long we got? 40 minutes, plenty of time. Pinprick of oil on the bit that goes in and out of the cylinder. Completely missed and got that all over the thing then. In on that bit, not there. So we've got a spot of oil on the bit that goes in and out of the cylinder. Now we need this pen stopped dispensing oil. A bit of oil there. Bit of oil behind there. Bit of oil there. Bit of oil there. think I did the 9S linkages last week. Yeah, I did. Bit of oil there. Right, lovely. I've just noticed a bit that's got on that post. We'll just get that off. So we'll put the body back on so oil is contained within the engine. And what we'll do is we will... let's see, how do I go about doing this? We'll get the oil on it and then we'll turn it on and run it round. Small bit there. Power on minimal, and let's run that into the gears. Put a bit more on. Let that run down. And that should be enough. Get you out of the way. I love this slidey chair. Anyway, get the XF off that's gone round. Right, quickly now, let's whip. Wow, that was quite smooth. Joyous. There we go. Shut you. And this train should now work. I mean, it was working anyway, and the power's already on. One moment, please. There we go. Of course it works. Why wouldn't it? Over the points. Relative that this doesn't go that slow. Over the points, no problems. Right, that's all good. Lizzie's all serviced, which is in. Should I make that joke? No, let's not make that joke. Because that's not a very funny joke. There we go. Lizzie is all serviced up. Next, we move on to, with half an hour remaining, Nora. I could text my mum actually. I've just dropped the O4 out. Could text my mum actually and ask her what time's tea's going to be ready, because it's not going to be ready for 6 on the dot. Maybe better to ring her actually, but then I'd have to mute the microphone. I'm going to put the oil on from the top this time, just so I can see where it gets to. Oil on there, lovely. There's nothing we can do inside, there isn't anything we can do inside, apart from just make sure all my wires from the pickups in the trailing truck, well, the flatbed are in place. I'll tell you what, this time, I'll put the oil into the cylinders from the top. Jaden says, not them rubbish Gen Z members who get way too overly offended for other people and take everything seriously and always say you could offend someone, apologise now. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Idiots. Oil in the cylinder because obviously the rods are fairly thick and they do run in slots in the cylinder, so get some oil in there, then we'll do the rest from the outside. Body back on, and I'll use the sponge for this because this truck isn't coupled. Just use a coupling. I can apply the power to the tender, so that's good. Because I've got a fit, well, not tender, but extra pickups. I'll call it tender pickups just for the sake of finding something better to call it. So one on that wheel, boop. One on that wheel, boop. Engage power, and it doesn't work. Open the points. Here we go. Clean the wheels. Oh, 4 rows. Really, there's really not much that can go wrong with them. The motor can burn out, a wire can become detached, you know, the worm gear might slip out of place, the bracket might snap. But other than that, there's really not that much to go wrong with them. I bought this engine for £17 off eBay, which may have been a bit much, but it was a nice thing. And I think it can be free delivery, so... but the wheels were absolutely encrusted in crap, and I didn't have a rotary tool, so I actually sandpapered all the crap off It took about, you know, between a minute and a half of sandpapering while the wheels were rotating to get all the encrusted stuff on. And the dirtiest wheels I've ever seen in my life. They were filthy, they were green and horrible and ugh. So yeah. Why has it suddenly stopped working? Jesus Christ. Ah, right, one of the crocodile clips on the tender slipped. Let's just bung you on that wheel instead. Come on! Do the backs of the wheels. There's not much we can really do on the Bachmann D11 either. I'm going to have to save that cotton bud. I've only got 6 left. We can't really get underneath to clean those pickups which touch the axles of the trailing truck, but I've just had a sneak peek under that one and it's not dirty at all, so we're fine. Clean the pickup, well, clean the wheels on here, which aren't that dirty. Jaden, you're going to get cancelled for incorrect grammar. Run, hide. Some people probably would, sadly. Idiot. Can't get in to put oils on these wheels where they're going to the axle boxes. They probably don't need it either. That's a big bit of crap. I think it's a gash in the wheel, actually. Well, the wheels are coming up clean, so that's good. Can't use that cotton bud, it ain't got a dry end. We'll use this one. We are seriously running low on cotton buds. Jaden has said, sorry but I've got to go, thanks for the amazing stream, hopefully see you next week, stay safe, take care and good luck with your servicing. Yeah, no problem Jaden, thank you very much for joining. Thanks for brightening the live chat up as always. Thank you very much for watching, thanks for joining, and yeah, hopefully see you next week. Joe has said just service the rest of the engines in your own time, so that's what I'll do. But hopefully we'll have a chance to finish today. That's the 101 service anyway, that's the 101 done. So yeah. Do enjoy the rest of your evening, Jaden. Thank you for watching. So here's the 101. Does it work? Yes, it does, but in the wrong direction. It derailed on the keyboard. Other way. Yeah, that works fine. There's a bit of squeaking though. That'll be from the pickups on the trailing truck. Oh, you saw my camera then. Come on, straighten up you. There we go. So it'll just need a spot of oil on the pickups. Power lube would be best for a halfpenny, so a tiny spot of normal oil's not gonna cause the end of the world. Tiny spot, and I mean tiny spot. It'll just be because the edge of the copper's rubbing on it. Oh no, that was on the wheel. No, didn't want it on the wheel, I wanted it on the axle. That's fine, there we go. You go, spot on there. Spot on there. Spot there where it'll be rubbing. Spot there where it'll be rubbing. Spot there where it'll be rubbing. And would you believe a spot there where it'll be rubbing? This oiling pen's covered in oil. I mean, you'd expect it, but my hands are a bit dirty. And my other towel's down there collecting all the glue from my ballast, because, yeah. A little bit of a hole in the baseboard, but doesn't matter. So there we go, that's, we'll stop the squeaking. I'll just quickly test it on the bench. Still squeaking, but... Which wheel is it? If I just bend it away slightly, it should be fine. It'll still make contact with the axle. Yeah, that's not squeaking anymore. Lovely, that is the 101 done. We now progress on to the D11 and maybe the HST if we've got time. The D11 doesn't have that many powered wheels though, so wheel cleaning will be an pain. That's loose. Never mind. Let's have a look underneath. We could clean the wheels first for a change. I'm going to dismantle the brake rigging. We're going to have to. But I think what I am going to do is cut that bit off there, because it's always in the way. You don't notice when it's running. So I think, let's have a look at this. I'm just going to cut it off because it gets in the way. You don't notice when it's running and you can't see the detail behind that brake rigging sort of puller anyway. So I'm going to cut it off because it just gets in the way. It's a faff. Brake rigging like this, yes, fine, I'll have that. But the, you know, modelling what actually pulls the brakes onto the wheels, you know, that little thing that bend, like there's a little thing. Oh, what am I trying to say? There's like a little thing there that will pull on the brake rigging, and then obviously the rigging will pull the brakes onto the wheels. But yeah, you can't see it when it's running. You can see the brake rigging when it's running, but that tiny little bit of detail just hides behind everything anyway. So I cut it off because it's so much of a faff. The bit of plastic that would allow you to fix it was broken from the factory, so it's not worth it. That's paint that's on the wheels, not dirt, so I'm not going to try and scratch that off, because these tender pickups are pretty useless anyway. Pretty clean actually, these wheels. I'll have to clean the axles because that's where the pickups go to, but only on the front and back wheels of the tender, because back when they're lazy and they make terrible pickups for tenders anyway. And they're not that dirty, the tender pickups, but we'll give them a clean. Take some of the carbon deposits off. Lovely, back now. Yeah, the carbon just wiping off. Carbon on it means there's been arcing, minus minuscule arcs, not like 400 kilowatt arcs that you might get on pylons in the UK if they go badly wrong. But yeah, there will be tiny arcs, and that could mean a bad connection. It does mean a bad connection, so clean them off. Front bogey. Yeah, these are the dirtiest wheels because they obviously run first. Unless you're running tender first, but the majority of the time you're not going to be. Unless you are. "20 minutes left, slightly over." Yeah, that wheel there's filthy. That'll be because that's on the positive rail. Right, we've got 2 cotton buds left now. I'm gonna have to get some more. It will go on the shopping list for Monday. Our big shop is done on a Monday. Spot of oil. Start playing up now. It's playing up. Spot of oil onto the axles. Can I get to the ones in the tender? Just. I'll put some on the linkage as well. I've got oiling pen out. Thankfully there's only 4 spots that need doing, so that can be done quickly. On the HST, none. Luckily, I've got quite good at servicing Ringfields and Lima HSTs like I've done on that one I showed you last week. And the dummy car will only need the wheels cleaning. So, clean the driven wheels, power on, points open. Let's not run it on full whack. Let's run it about 3/4. And it doesn't work. Why not? Are the pickups that bad on the tender? Yes they are. Do they need bending into place? Probably, because Bachmann can't make tender pickups that work. Just a bunch of pillocks. Yeah, I'll just give them a tiny little bit of bend. I don't know why they make flimsy tender pickups like this. And then the roots, they don't put the connection, you know, before the first pair of tender wheels like Hornby do, like sensible people do. They route the wires for the DCC socket and for the tender pickup connections under the first pair of wheels, which is a terrible design. This needs to be on a bit faster, this engine isn't. Ah, it already is full speed. Thought I haven't put it on full speed. But yeah. Terrible design. Back to the wheels for the pickups, and then we'll clean the pickups themselves in a moment. Thankfully, only the driving wheels pop out. No, we'll leave that on. Thankfully, only the driving wheels pop out when you take the body off this, which is good. It's a lot easier for servicing, I find. So, is that the too big? Yes, that's too big. Should have really known that. Screw 1. And there's a screw that goes through into the body, but through the drawbar and also through the base keeper. Again, not a brilliant design because all the connections from the tender and to the tender go over the screw. Which means it's a pain to get in and out, but once it's out, and then falls into the cab. The driver and the fire... Oh no, I didn't. I thought I'd fitted driver and fire engine into there. I think I tried to, but I didn't think I had quite the right figures. Thankfully, the Bachmann plug is on the tender is quite often easy to get out because it just falls out half of the time. That's when I first got this engine off someone, the person I bought it off of. It was running a little bit intermittently, and the plug was loose. I don't think he'd been faffing with it. I know he hadn't been faffing with it, but the plug was loose. There's a bit of insulating tape there, that can go, we don't need it. The wires managed to stay in place by themselves perfectly fine. Big chunk of lead in the boiler, I've mentioned that before. Die-cast running plate, which is brilliant. die-cast smoke box, I think, as well. Oh, no. That smoke box isn't die-cast. Quite a heavy model, but will only pull 3 coaches, which is a shame. I'd rather that than put traction tyres on it, though. The body can go to one side. Bit of a mop-up job required, of which I've only got 1 cotton bud left. So it's going to be a towel job. Take the worm cover off. There is only 1 screw for this. I haven't lost that. It came to me with only 1 screw on. Again, Bachmann using a literally invisible screw. Typical Bachmann motor with all the bodged stuff onto it. All the bodged capacitors and resistors and tiny little 3-pole thing. No flywheel, which is a shame. We'll put a bit of oil on the worm and we'll put a bit of oil on the gear when we take the base keeper off. Yeah, they only use 1 screw because there's sort of a lug that fits into the place of, you know, where you'd assume the other screw would go. There's like, it fits into a lug, which is a daft design. It's more complicated, it'd probably snap off at some point, so it's a bit of an odd one, this. It's a lovely model, but the mechanism's odd. We'll leave the body off. I think we need to take out 2 screws for the base keeper, of which is hardwired in place. Don't think I've had a single model in my collection with spring-loaded contacts. Then again, I only have 1 model that's brand new, and that was only £110. Only £110. The most I've ever spent on a brand new model. But whatever. And yep. As I thought I had remembered, those pickups are quite clean actually. As I thought I remembered, both axles on this are driven, so the coupling rods, despite obviously coupling rods on a loco normally do actually transfer power from one driven axle to the other. So there's normally gears on one axle, and then the coupling rods transfer the power to the other. But of course, Bachmann has done its usual thing of being overcomplicated, and they have chosen to make both axles driven. So the coupling rods don't actually transfer the power; they're just there, obviously, for looks. So yeah, coupling rods normally on a loco, like on my 9F, like on the 040s, transfer the power from one driven axle to another. But on this one, they are, you know, they don't serve a purpose other than being there for prototypicality. So I don't like that. We'll put some oil on all them gears, and of course, because both axles are driven, there is a load of gears, a lot of friction, and probably why this loco can't pull very much. At least they are nice and thick, but just having them there not at all would be preferable. You could even take them out, but I'm not going to that stage. Can't moan about it then. Base keeper. Which screws were they? These 2, weren't they? Make sure all the brake rigging is in place. Come on, you. Yep, you're in, you're in, you're in. Now, to get the body back in, which is always fun. Anyway, we're serviced. Drop you in. And we have to get the thing in. That needs to be turned over. Goes underneath the base keeper, but then between the base keeper and the chassis, like so. Screw. Screwdriver. You have to keep that in place while you push the screw past all the wires. Screw that in. Yes. That sounded Irish then. I literally no clue why. This minuscule screw can go in the other end. There we go. That fits fine. Right, slap it on the track. Joe has said, what's that engine? It is a Bachmann D11. These sandpipes need bending back in. It's a Bachmann D11. It's called MAN, number 5511. A Bachmann D11. No problem, Joe. Don't worry about it. Those sandpipes really do get in the way. Rather irksome. To bend them. That's better. That's on the track. So, other camera. I said other camera. There we go. The D11, I was just about to ask you to run that. I can do it next week if you want, Joe. I'll run it for you next week if you want. In the, yeah, it is, no, LNER. Shut the points. There we go. It's lined LNER, which is nice, but the GCR one looks really good as well. But, next week, I will run this for you as the first train. You know, at the start, I normally pick 3 trains to run round for a bit. But I will run... I'm turning the power down too low, that's why it keeps stopping. It's never good at crawling. But I'll run this with some Pullmans if you want, Joe, at the start of next week's stream for you. I know you've been waiting for a running stream for a while, so that's the least I can do for you. You've seen 511 Butler Henderson, very nice. This one's MARNE, M-A-R-N-E. A lovely detailed model actually. You've got some representation of gear, the linkages and the pistons and stuff below the boiler barrel. That is running A-OK. This can go back in the drawer. That's the wrong drawer. That is the last of the steam locomotives. I found the 9F coupling, it was the back of the drawer. Hiding as usual under the 04s. That's a terrible coupling, it needs replacing. I'll put that in front of the 9F, but don't forget. And we'll start the HST, although I very much doubt I'll have time to finish it. I'm not doing the 31 as I've said, because it's an absolute pain. And it doesn't really need to be serviced. It's not an easy serviceable engine, and a few months ago when, you know, it finally started working, I fully serviced it and dismantled it then and made sure it didn't gonna need to be serviced for a while. So I'm not going to service that. I mean, the HST probably doesn't really need servicing, but it's just not worth faffing about with that 31. So we'll see where we can get with the HST. We'll see if we can get to a point where we can stop. Cocktail sticks would be useful for getting the clips off, but I shall just use a screwdriver. The cab does pop off, but I don't really want to do that because it's a tiny little bit of a loose fit, especially because of the lights I've fitted to replace the old ones in here. So there we go. The wiring's actually a lot neater than I remember. I think I did this with a really thick wire and then got some SCART lead stuff and redid it. So it's actually quite neat. I tell you, yeah, Neville, not Neville, Joe. I'm reading your Neville Grove comment. I'll run the 31. I've got 3 31s actually. I've got this one, which I bought off eBay to do up and sell. I've got this one, which I bought off eBay to do up and sell on. And then I got this one, which is Floreat Salopia, which is indeed weathered by Neville Grove. I've got a certificate actually. Do I show you? Yes, I will. Camera's deactivated, let's remedy that. Doesn't like it when you spin it round. I got a certificate. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Yeah, up there, look. That's the certificate of authenticity I got with the 9F, and that's the certificate from Neville Grove as well. So I tell you what, if I can, I'll do a triple header with all these 31s, Joe, and I will do the D11 with you for you as well, because you deserve it to be, you know, you to have a chance to run your stuff, because I know you've been asking for a while. But those 2 green Triumph Class 31s will not be staying with me. They are purely to buy, do up and sell on in order to make me a little bit of profit. So they'll not be staying with me, but unless they're sold and posted by next week, I will run them for you. One of them will definitely still be here by next week because it's not on eBay yet, and I run my listings for a week. So one of the Triang 31s, at the very least, will be running with Floreat Salopia. But if the other one doesn't sell, then I'll be able to run all 3 in a triple header. Because all the soldering is done onto these pads, I'm not going to unsolder it. However, because you can unscrew these pads, all the connections come away with the sort of connecting pieces. So I don't need to unsolder it all, I just need to unsolder one wire that goes to the pickups. I think I need a new bit in this iron. The soldering iron's not even on. But yeah. I've just soldered it to the pads, and because they unscrew, it's easy to service. There's just one wire that needs to come off. So yeah. Joe, you've said... did you say you won it? Yes. I won this one, Floreat Salopia, which is the one that's been weathered. I won that one. But the other 2 I bought off eBay. Bought this one for... Which one is this one? I bought this one for £20.65. And I think I bought this one for 21 quid, and I'm probably going to sell them for about 30 quid. So yeah, the 2 green Triang ones I bought to sell on. And you've said how much for? I've already answered that. Do they spark on the track a lot? A little bit. Fortunately, I've got a rotary tool with a brass wire wheel in it, although I do need some more because that one's running a bit low. Which means that I'm able to sort of remove all the pitting and, you know, get them relatively smooth. And they do spark a tiny little bit, and you know that can be frightening to, you know, people who don't know about them. But because they are such an old model, like 60 years old or 50, one or both of those are, it's just a thing that happens because it's an old wheels on new track, quite coarse flanges. It's just something that happens. They don't spark a lot. They mainly just spark, you know, going around tight corners or over points or stuff. So not a lot. Fair enough, Joe. Obviously, I think they're the only trains I've ever seen spark on the track, even when fully serviced and sorted. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just a characteristic of them. They don't do it a lot, but they do it. And I'm out of cash. Well, yeah, fair enough then. Soldering iron is up to degrees Celsius now. We'll not lose the springs, so we'll just melt that wire there. We'll melt. We're gonna have to take the motor out to get at that wire. We'll move that body. We'll move to the other camera as well. Let's get the motor out, which can be difficult. Best bet is to stick a screwdriver and prise up. And we'll take that wire off there. And I've got a Sharpie in here, several actually, so we can colour that pickup down there red. And I know it's a red wire, but you can still see when it's been drawn on by a red marker. In fact, I'll put it on the solder, the red. And then we know that goes to the back, and the brush contacts are obvious. Which one goes which way around, because the wires won't reach. Floriat still out. Bye. Go away. Front bogey needs to come off, so I'm going to have to take that cab off anyway. But I do need to be packing up, so I may just disassemble this motor, leave you there, service it in my own time after the stream, or maybe tomorrow, and then next week we'll have a running stream, as I've said. Nothing needs doing on there, so I think I shall just dismantle the motor, get it dismantled, and leave you there, do it in my own time, and then we'll be back for next week. That's the wrong screwdriver. There we go. Gears. Yeah, they look fine. No teeth damage, not damage, they just need cleaning. The grey gears as well, which is a little bit of a difference. And on the Virgin HSTs, they have pickups, wiper pickups on both sides as well. And on the... do they have it on the non-driven bogie? Yeah, they have it on the non-driven bogie as well. So, carefully remove the wheels, which you have to do to get the plate off. So, just stick a screwdriver in and gently prise. That gear has stayed on the axle, which is fine. It's got little lugs that locate it into the back of the wheel. It has done that before, so just got to be careful when the gear comes off as well, because if you snap it, yeah, you're going to have to buy a whole new wheel. Maybe could do with a bit of super glue on, but I haven't got any. I'm not using resin. Maybe thread locker as well, but that just pushes into the back of the wheel, and because it's next to the motor, it doesn't come off. I'll check the state of the bushes on here as well, because on Golden Eagle, one was completely worn through, well, out of alignment, out of square anyway, but they look perfectly fine. There's a spring there. I'm glad that didn't go on the floor because I haven't got any more. Golden Eagle could do with some new brushes and springs, but she'll be alright for another year until the next service. That spring, there we go. We'll pop the brush cover off. I should probably just keep that screwdriver out because I keep putting it away and then needing it. Let's try not to break the clips, which is virtually impossible on these. Do the brushes come out? No, which is a sign that it's manky, and it is absolutely filthy. Oh dear. Not the dirtiest commutator I've seen, but it's pretty manky. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely covered. Yeah. This isn't one of the ones where you can take the armature out, no. So we are fully disassembled. So there is the HST in bits. As the chat has decided, as you said earlier, Joe, I will leave the HST to be serviced in my own time. I'll probably do it after tea, to be honest. I'm not doing anything else tonight. I'll do it after tea or tomorrow. I'll get it all serviced for next week, and this is the last engine that needs to be serviced. And then next week we will have the running session. So Joe, you will get your either double or triple header of 31s, depending on which have sold and which haven't. And of course I'll do the D11 with the coaches for you as well, because you deserve it. I know you've been asking about it for a while. So yeah, that is the servicing stream. It's just after 3 minutes past 6, so I think we shall end it there. Turn the soldering iron off so it doesn't burn the loft down. But yeah, I have really enjoyed this stream, and we've rattled through the locos. What did we get done? We cleaned the 9F wheels, we did 204Os, the D11, the 03.10, and sort of got a quarter of the way of doing through the HST. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. By tonight, all locos will be operational, and you can ask for whatever you want running next week, and I won't have to say, oh, this doesn't work because it's shorting out. It will be working perfectly fine. But anyway, I would just like to end the stream by saying thank you everyone for joining me for today's live stream. It really has been wonderful to see you all here today, and thank you very much for your comments and participation in the live chat as always. I do hope you have enjoyed watching the stream as much as I have had running it, and especially this week because we're in my favourite thing to do, which is dismantle and fix things. I've really enjoyed it as well, and as I always say, these weekly streams really are one of my favourite types of content to produce and make. I will hopefully see you at the same time next week on Saturday at 4:15. In fact, I won't see you on Saturday at 4:15 because we've got friends coming over. So I will see you on Sunday next week. I'm confusing myself with all the dates here. I will see you for 1 week only on Sunday next week at 4:15, not Saturday, because we've got some friends coming over. So I'll see you next week on Sunday, a week and a day from today, Sunday at 4:15. But in the meantime, I would just like to say thank you all very much once again for joining this evening. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your kind comments and messages in the chat as always. Do take care, enjoy the rest of your evening, and bye for now. See you next week, folks, and we'll be doing a running session. Goodbye.